Oh, how we doing? How we doing? How we doing, folks? Come on in, come on in, come on in. I have a special show for you tonight. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Let me tell you, folks, I am so happy, so honored, so privileged to have this next gentleman on with me tonight. A true legacy, a true icon. Some of you may know him. His 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 legacy goes back 43 years, almost 50 years. This gentleman has been involved with the motorcycle culture, with the car club culture, before someone was even born. And he is a true icon uh, to us today. And I am privileged to have him on tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring him on and let him introduce himself. I'm turning it over to him so that he can share his legacy of all the incredible things that he's accomplished and all the things that he contributed to us to be able to live this lifestyle that we do in this culture. How you doing, sir?
Fine. How are you doing?
I am outstanding, sir. I am outstanding. I am truly honored to have you on with me tonight. We're doing a pre-recorded show because I didn't want to take your time and then lock you in. I just said, hey, Mr. Walker, if you please come on, and this is the time we agreed upon, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mhm.
So please, sir, without further ado, would you like to introduce yourself to the people tonight?
My name's Billy Walker. I live in Kansas City, Missouri. Uh, my family originated out of Shreveport, Louisiana,
Okay.
and I've been living here my whole life, uh, motorcycling and riding. And to basically talk about myself is going to be a hard chore because I'm
Oh
not
no.
a person
Oh,
that talks about myself. But we're going to give it a try.
okay.
Um, yeah, I retired from AT&T. I had over 32 years service at AT&T,
Okay.
and I worked for the Kansas City International Drag Strip here in Kansas City for a while
Okay.
as track maintenance and running the tower, just about everything with the track here in Kansas City. It's
Okay.
defunct now. We don't have one here. They're building a new one a little ways out of the city. But my
Oh,
life has always been about wheels. And when I say wheels, I'm talking about cars, motorcycles, anything that had wheels and stuff like that on it that I enjoyed from day one. My
yes.
dad, he retired from Ford Motor Company. He rode motorcycles. Matter of fact, he used to deliver medicine on motorcycles down in Texas in his
Oh,
younger days and everything. So I guess that's where I got and my cousins, they all rode and the whole bit. The family's just been motorcycle involvement ever since I can remember. Mhm.
oh, so you're like a second generation, third generation, cousin, relative, all you grew up around all of that.
Yes, yes.
Outstanding,
So,
outstanding. So that's what fueled you. That's what set that fire blaze in you, which is outstanding. Because I always ask people. I said, "Where did you pick this passion up? Did you see it on television? Were you family? A lot of people, Black Americans, we grew up during that time where I know I grew up in a single family home, and my mother would go on her Friday nights or Saturday night and take me, and I'd be always sitting in the car somewhere, and I'd be, playing with my toys. But I look out the window and I see the motorcycles, or I see the guys in the cars walking by and coming up talking, and I say, "Yeah, man, someday when I grow up, that's what I want to try to be like." Enjoy that lifestyle, be a rebel.
right, right.
Yeah, good
Yep.
deal.
So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yep.
So you have ran the
Um,
gauntlet. So, yeah, sir. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I said, so you have, we were talking earlier about you. You said you've been in car clubs, different entities like that. Um, what other affiliation did you have?
Okay. Basically, I'm gonna start with the car club. Royal
Okay.
Mandingos was a group of black guys that had cars and here in the city. And this
Hmm.
was back in the 69, 68, 70s, and 71. And we banded together because we used to go out and race within the city on the streets and stuff like that and the whole bit. And we would go over to the white neighborhoods and
Hmm.
challenge them to races and stuff like that. And it was a pride thing for us. And the name came up Mandingo. I think a lot of people know what a Mandingo is from
Right.
slave times and everything, but we used it as a Mandingo to say our cars were the type of Mandingos that we drove and rode and did everything we did with. And then from that point, the club slowly went on because people got older. They
Hmm.
started having families and kids and this and that, and we stopped from there. And then I rode over into the motorcycle world, and I rode a long time by myself, solo, and
Hmm.
would go to guys. We would get together and ride and do this and do that on the bikes and everything. And then I got an interesting story to tell you how I ended up in a club.
Yes, sir.
A good friend, a good friend of mine. He was in the Zodiac Motorcycle Club. Matter of fact, he's a founder, one of the founders. And right now, I'm gonna be skipping around a little bit, but right now, it's only two founders left in the club, and his name is Dallas Thibodeau. He's from down in Louisiana, down in the Bayou part of it. And the other founding member that's left is Wilbert Neal, and he's from born in Arkansas and Kansas City. He lives here and everything. But those are the two founders that are left within the club. So one time I was riding and everything, and me and another buddy, and we just riding and having a good time and everything. And he came to us and he said, "Hey, one on one," he said, "Man, your buddy's coming down. He gonna join the club." I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Well, okay, I will." So he went and found him and told him, said, "Your buddy's coming down. He gonna join the club," which we both didn't even know what he was doing, and
Hmm.
he kind of like tricked us down there, and we both ended up on the same Sunday, and it was on Valentine's Day Sunday because the club meetings club meetings are held on February. I mean, that Sunday and everything, and we ended up joining and started prospecting. A lot of folks don't understand the word prospecting
Please,
in a
sir,
club.
enlighten us. Enlighten us. Please.
Prospecting within our club was that you became basically at the beck and call of club members and became a second class citizen. We
Hmm.
wasn't a one percenter by no means. We were just MC, but we
Hmm.
wasn't a one percenter by no means and everything. And you had to go through a period of time to become a member, and it had to be a 100% vote to get in. And by
Hmm.
prospecting, they taught us to learn each other and one another, and learn the members' ways, and the members learn our way. And there were things that we were told to do that probably would have took a lot of people and said they'll never make it in a club, but that member that told you what to do had to be able to do the same thing. He couldn't tell you to do something that he can't do.
Right.
And therefore, we went on and got in the club. And from that point all the way up to now, I'm still in the club. I've held different offices in the club. I've been president for about 8 years at one time. I was the road captain. Um, Now I'm holding the office of parliamentarian of the club. So,
Parliamentarian.
hmm
Okay.
yes, yep.
I bet you some
So
club there. I bet you some of these new clubs they don't even know what that is. They
you're
say
probably right,
parliamentarian.
because you're probably right because some of the ways these new clubs run themselves, they you know they don't have that structure going on within the club.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, so that's where that was. Back in the younger days, I did a lot of riding.
Hmm.
I've rode up to Canada. I've rode down to the Gulf. Been out Myrtle Beach way, Florida, and everything, and a lot of riding. A lot of riding. There was quite a bit of riding. I rode an old Kawasaki Voyager for a while. I had a '76 Kawasaki 900 that I could put a big motor on it to race with and
Uh-huh.
everything like that. And been involved in the club ever since, doing
You,
whatever it takes to be
you
there.
said some things. You said some things I want to ask you a question about. Now, you said you rode up to Canada. What time frame was that you was riding up to Canada and going across the border? You didn't have that border issue. You just rode right on across, didn't you?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Where did
And
y'all go
the
up in
time
Canada?
we went to Canada during the time I was involved with National Bikers Roundup, and the first parts that I was going to, I was not involved with the actual putting it on. I was involved with attending the roundup.
Hmm.
And we would ride from Kansas City, and we would go through Cleveland and stop in there, and we would spend time with the Mystic Knights Club up there, and a lot of good brothers up in that area. I mean, Gay Rose, Alabama Sweet Boy, Kirk, Houston, the Houston family, which is the Mystic Knights and everything. You got
Right.
Spider D. He's up in that area. There's so many different bike clubs up in the Zulus and
Yes,
different
sir.
clubs up in that
Yes, sir.
area. And we rode up there, then we would leave there and go into Detroit and hang out in Detroit Gentlemen's and different clubs up in that area. And then from there we would ease because the roundup was in Detroit that year that I
Mm-hmm.
went. And we
Mm-hmm.
eased over into Canada. And the goal was just to get your front wheel across the line. That's what the goal was, to get your front wheel across the line. You got the back wheel, that was good too, but the goal was to touch across the line. So that's what we did there. It's just like going down to the Gulf. The Gulf was to be able to put your front wheel in the water in the Gulf. The same thing, it's just different goals that we had as club members that we
Right.
did. We just for the ride of it and everything. Up in Colorado, just to ride up in the mountains and stuff like that. So that was a lot of my writing experience back in my younger days and everything. So that's where that came about. And then I got involved with putting on the event,
Mm-hmm.
and it became so much of a point of not a business. It became a point of trying to make history for Black writers. And what I mean by that is that I wanted this event to stand out because at one point in time, there's an article, and I should have sent you that article, and you might can look it up in Ebony
Okay.
magazine. Says the $1 million secret, and they were talking about National Bikers Roundup as a
Mm-hmm.
$1 million secret because every city we went into, we tried to leave as much money in that city to help the clubs that were in that city. So
Yes.
therefore, we spent money at hotels, gas stations, convenience stores, the regular big box stores, and all that, not to name names, but we spent a lot of money and time doing that. And that's what Roundup was about at that time. Just being able to leave something and try to make it better. And it was a family affair
Yes,
where
sir.
you brought the family in. It wasn't a point. It was just all clubs. It was individuals, families. We didn't discriminate against any clubs, black or white. We didn't even discriminate against the outlaws. Outlaws were welcome and invited in too. So that's what went on back then, and that's where kind of my writing stopped because I had to bring so much equipment to make this event be what it be, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where it rolled on to.
Right, right, right. Now I know you talked about your writing, and before we go into that big subject, that big elephant in the room, I want to hear about the before you start having to take so much equipment. The time that you
Hmm.
were writing, because you mentioned names like Mystic Knights, the Zulus, those are names right there that people need to understand that's been around for a long time,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
you have been involved with that. You have met these men, the founders. You met Sugar Bear.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sugar Bear grew up in Kansas City
Uh-huh.
at his early age, and then his family moved out to California and everything. But Sugar Bear, he's involved in a lot of things, and I got even some pictures I should have sent you there where Sugar Bear and I are at the Harley Davidson Museum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where they
Yes, sir.
dedicated a deal for Sugar Bear there
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
everything and everything. So I met him, and then we found out we were both from the same city, and then it was a great experience and everything. So, those are the type of people that I met along the way of what I was doing, and I'm not even touching the full base of people I have met because it's hard to remember until I get to talking about them and everything like that.
Well, sir,
Even going
talk
out to
about them.
Philly,
Talk about them.
the Philly area, I was
Who
out
was
in
out there?
Philly there.
Yeah, who was out there?
Oh, it's hard to say because I met a lot of clubs, and what we used to do is we would have seminars and things with clubs that are going to host the roundup. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, if you want to host it, you would put in a bid for it. So then we would turn around and go visit them to guarantee that they could provide the things that the roundup needed.
Hmm.
And that's when I went in and met different clubs and stuff like that. Outcasts, not Outcasts, Wheels of Soul.
Wheels of
I met
Soul.
them. Yes, yes, I met them. I went into their den and the whole bit, had conversation with them and the whole bit, and worked different scenarios out with them and different things like that. But we had a good time and
Hmm.
everything. So that's where the people I met there in that area of the country.
Okay.
The DC area, I went into that area. I've been in majority all the areas with motorcycling and
Hmm.
meeting different people and stuff like that. And the names just don't touch right now to come out, but
Hey, I'm
yes.
enjoying this. So you are educating me. I haven't been in the motorcycle world nearly as long as you have. I'm still wet behind the ears. I've just done some outstanding riding, been to some places,
Hmm.
but you know, I this is what I love to hear. I when I came on, I always went to the old heads. I wanted to hear the stories, and I kind of modeled myself after them.
Hmm.
And what you're saying right now, the names that you're mentioning, the places you've ridden, that's my inspiration. That's what I'm
Hmm.
still going to continue to ride with. And everybody I talk to, and everybody that I meet, I'm saying, well, did you meet this person? Well, did you go here? Did you go there? And
Hmm.
a lot of
Hmm.
people don't understand, man. Our history is rich. We have a rich history in the motorcycle culture.
And we truly do across this country. I mean, and when you mentioned that, I remember now Ricky Gatson and his mother, Vicky Gatson, in the Philadelphia area. Now, Ricky lives
Hmm.
now in the Atlanta area and
Hmm.
everything. You know, he's involved with caffeine and cars.
Yeah.
TV show on TV and
Yeah.
everything. So,
Yep.
yep, he's there. There was a Mr. Brewer, Jim Brewer, that we always brought in for entertainment at the roundup and stuff like that. He's still alive, and he'd had a wheel standing car out of the
Hmm.
Cleveland area and stuff like that. So there was a lot of people that I got a chance to meet down in the Carolinas. There was people down there, the drag strips down there,
Yeah.
and everything. So it's been
What is it?
a
What is it? Carolina,
Rockingham,
Rockingham, and
Ham.
then the club down there that started Black Bike Week. Why is I just
It's
uh
like you, just like me. It's there,
yeah,
but
it's
I
there,
can't.
but then I'm mad at that whole time. But
Right.
hey, look, while we're sitting here talking, we had a guest just pop in on us on this
Mhm.
recorded show. You might know this person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know both of them.
Yes, how you
How y'all
doing?
doing today? How y'all
We're
doing
Good,
today?
doing
Y'all
good.
great.
good, good. Y'all got me in here, so come on
Yeah,
with it.
We're happy to see you.
hey, I said somebody give him his flowers, please, right now, immediately.
Yep, yep.
I
Ladies,
appreciate that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by David and Suni Bell. Actually, Suni organized this. She set it up. She said, "Hey, I have a gentleman solo that you need to meet." Now, he doesn't do interviews. He don't do none of that stuff. But I think he'll do it for you, and he'll do it for me. And I greatly appreciate you both.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I had to twist that arm.
Yeah, she did. She twisted it.
He's in there educating me. I feel like a kid in school, man. I'm sitting back taking notes, writing stuff down. He's mentioning
Yeah.
name and places. This is truly incredible, and this is what I try to base my podcast off of, are highlighting the unsung heroes of the motorcycle culture, such as yourself, that people they may never heard of you. They may have heard of the organization, they may have heard of the event, but they haven't heard of you and who you are and your legacy.
Well, thank you for giving me
Yeah.
the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Right. And I think one thing people need to know about Mr.
Yep.
Mr. Billy Walker is that he's one of those people that elevates other people. And he doesn't necessarily need the accolades, but I
Right.
think he greatly deserves it. He's done a lot for motorcycling, a lot for African American history in motorcycling, and he wants to see that history perpetuated. Like he's one of those people that doesn't want it to die. So I
Right.
think, why not have him on here and tell his story so that other people can learn about what can be done in motorcycling and how motorcycling can be a vehicle to elevate African American history.
Yes, 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 definitely, definitely. And my question to you, what is your connection? I mean, between you and Mr. Walker, Suni?
Okay, so I participated in hosting a couple of roundups. The one that's most memorable, my first encounter was I was a part of the Florida Roundup Committee. And Billy and the board of the National Bikers Roundup selected us. Well, actually, they didn't select us. The people that voted for us to host a roundup. We were educated by the board on the rules for hosting. They kind of mentored us through the process. They told us the do's and don'ts. They were with us every step of the way in the process. So even
Right.
coming on, when we actually hosted the roundup in Fort Pierce, Florida, or Port St. Lucie, Florida, coming on site and kind of working with us to put the roundup on. And then I worked with them on a roundup in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That was in 2014. The first one was in 2006. So
Mhm.
that's my encounter with them, and we've been friends ever since. Well, even when we were campaigning in Rockingham, you guys were talking about Rockingham. We came to know the Roundup board then, and I love them all that time and still.
Yes, yes, yes. Uh, Mr. Walker, you have left a true positive impact on this young lady right here because
Oh yeah, he
we we
knows.
we actually sat down. We was at the Iron Elite event and we were having lunch. I did, a late lunch, and she was just going on and on and on. And she's like, "I'm like his little daughter."
Yeah, no, little sister. Yeah,
Little
I'll go
Little
sister,
further.
sister.
yeah, little
Yeah,
sister,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, little
Hmm.
sister,
yeah.
yeah. So, definitely appreciate you guys coming on. Dave, how you doing, sir?
Hey, doing great, doing great.
Man, I truly appreciate y'all.
Now that's
Uh,
one you need to interview right there. That man rides his heart out.
yes, he
Yeah.
does. Yes, he does. As a matter of fact, we met
both of
going up to
both of them,
Canada.
both of them ride their heart out. It's not just him, but both of them ride
Yes,
their
they
heart out.
do.
Hmm.
That
Yes,
means
they
a lot
do.
coming from you, because I
Yeah.
know you put some miles in. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
he has. Yes, he has. He's digging in, telling me about just let the front tire cross the Canada border. That's all he wanted to do. Just let the front tire cross the border, man. That's
Hmm.
incredible. That's incredible.
Hmm.
Well, look, I thank y'all for coming on, making this cameo. I said, hey, I got to reach out. I got to get you guys on and give you this moment right here during this video to just kind of acknowledge what you've done putting this together.
Well, we love you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you both.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
yes.
this is directed towards Billy. Just, share that history. Keep it alive.
Well, I'm gonna try to give him all I can give him, but it's gonna be hard.
All right.
Hey, look, it's rolling right off his tongue, just like that.
Like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
easy. Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
All right. Y'all
Okay.
take care.
All
Take
right.
All
care.
right.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
I had to get him on, sir. I
I
had to get him
see.
on.
But
Oh,
you're good
goodness.
at what you do. You're good at
Hey,
what you do.
I'm trying, sir. Every day I'm trying.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to interrupt you. I know you was in the middle of your thought. We was down in South Carolina. I was trying to think of that Carolina. They have a horse on their emblem. They started the black biker uh event down there in South
I know what you're
Carolina.
talking
Yeah,
about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but name wise, I'm not good. I'm good at faces,
right.
and
Yeah,
sometimes it takes
likewise.
me a minute to be able to come up with names and stuff like that. So, yep. Hmm.
Okay. So
Yep.
so
So,
so so we were doing the roundup. I actually went to the Darlington roundup one year down there.
did you?
You
Okay.
yeah, I
Okay.
went to the Darlington one. I was in a club down
Hmm.
there. We met our club brother. They was down at the track. Uh that was probably one of my first events attending the roundup because I was on the West Coast. I was up in Seattle, and then I'd had to work my way back to the East Coast. But I eventually got into that cycle of okay, the roundup is on my hit list, you know.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Good. Good.
but I want to go back and I want to ask you, the people that you met, uh, what kind of brought up the ideal of having the National Biker Roundup?
Well, I can give you the beginning history of the roundup.
Hmm.
I wasn't there when it first started. I
Right.
came in about two years, 3 years later
Hmm.
as participant, not as leadership,
Yes, sir.
and everything. And it started in Kansas City, Kansas,
Hmm.
and it started in January, in the
Hmm.
middle of the winter, about like it is now. But this is February, and right now I'm sitting here looking at the snow outside, and the temperature is 2 degrees. But it started basically in that type of weather and everything, and it was an indoor event. and they decided, okay, we're bikers, so they moved it to August, and they left and went to Omaha, Nebraska, and they ended up having it in a park there, but the police told them they couldn't do it, so they ended up moving to a guy's backyard. The guy's name was Timmy, and he lived up in Omaha, Nebraska. And the following year, they brought it back to Kansas and had it out on Sauter Drive here in Kansas City, Kansas. I live in the Kansas City, Missouri side, and there's the Kansas City, Kansas side.
Right. Yes, sir.
There's two states right here, and a lot of people get it misunderstood. And it's a funny story about that is that people tell you, "Well, you're from Kansas." No, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas is across across the
Across
river
the
over
river.
there.
Yep.
But that's a funny story that goes on all the time. But they had it over in Kansas City, Kansas. A guy named Mike Gordon's place on Sauter Drive, and from there it just continued to grow and grow. And then they decided to say, okay, we're going to move it somewhere different. And that's when they start taking it from different locations and everything. So that's how that involvement and my involvement started. And then as the years went along, I got asked to come in and be the chairperson. Back then, a
Right.
chairperson job was only to make sure the club that said they're going to host it did what they needed to do.
Yes, sir.
And then we just start putting more into it and elevating it to the point of where we got to and everything. So that's how my involvement got started with the roundup.
Okay, but during that time, during that era, the men that were there, you coming in with it, the discussion is that we brought this together for clubs from the East Coast, West Coast, for Black bikers to come together in unity. Is that correct?
Correct, 100% correct. They talked about and everything, and we just decided to keep it going and let it go further, because at one time it wasn't supposed to go nowhere but around the 3-state area here, basically.
That
We
was
decided to let it go
Kansas,
further and
Missouri,
get it out further.
and which 3 states was that? Kansas, Missouri.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I think I lost you.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We're having some technical difficulties. I don't know if it's on my end or his end.
You still there?
Folks, just like that, hopefully I can get Mr. Walker back on. For some reason, we having some technical difficulties. There's probably some snow going on. We definitely get snow here. He was talking about the temperature there. This has been an incredible show so far. And there he goes. He's coming back in right now. Are you there?
Okay. I'm here. Yes.
Okay. And I was telling the people, I said, the weather's just been crazy here, there. So, it's probably just technical difficulty that we're having, but we're going to keep this thing going because you have a lot of good information that I want you to share with the people today. As a matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and take a quick little 46-second break, sir. I have to run this quick little commercial and then we'll be right back.
Listen, man, you're watching K Solo Live, a podcast. Let me tell you something. If you really want to know, this is where you're going to go, man. Shout out to my man K Solo, always put it down, always keep it 100 down. Understand, man. It's right, it ain't for everybody. But if you really want to know, man, one hell of a podcast, man, K Solo.
And we're back. We're back. We're back with Mr. Billy Walker. 43 years in the Zodiac MC. Uh, Probably just that many years working with the National Bikers Roundup and traveler who have traversed the countryside from Canada to the Gulf and all in between. A true icon of the culture. Someone who is, you actually met Bessie Stringfield, correct, sir?
No.
Okay, okay.
My involvement with the Betsy Springfield program thing was that I was invited to AMA, the American Motorcycle Association,
Right.
and they did a dedication of Betsy Springfield, and we were there for the dedication. I'm not
Okay.
quite that old that I met Betsy, but
I'm putting you too far out there now.
but never got a chance to meet her. Learned a lot about her. Matter of fact, I
Uh-huh.
had a large display that we carried with us, and we always displayed it at the roundups of Betsy Springfield. So
Yes.
that's my involvement. Was through the American Motorcycle Association, and when they did their display of her and everything. Mhm.
Okay. And then you were up at the Milwaukee Museum, Harley Davidson Museum.
Yes, yes.
Okay. There we go. That's where I got that two mixed up there. And also
Hmm.
a gentleman out of I think we talked about Mountain Man. We talked about Mountain Man.
Yes, Mountain Man was out of Kentucky.
Yep.
Um,
He had a
he is
story
out
though.
of,
You had a story about him though.
yeah, Louisville, Kentucky. He was a I wasn't supposed to tell this story out here, but we'll go with it though. If you want to, we'll go with it. His name Mountain Man was for a reason. He slept more outdoors. He did everything outdoors. He didn't have any inside
Mhm.
plumbing in his home and everything, and he lived that type of life. And if you ever get a chance to see him, and that's another article I'll send you one day that I have. I just had to go
Yes,
down
sir.
and pull it out of the office archives. And
Okay.
he dressed just like Mountain Man. You would see him. He would have fur on for his coat, and his chaps had fur all on them and everything. And he wore this big had this big staff like you would think you would see people with back in the day. And he
Hmm.
rode his motorcycle. He rode Harleys and everything like that. And he was a heck of a guy, and he was involved when we did the roundup down in the Kentucky area. Hmm.
Okay. And
Yeah.
another question that I want to ask you because we kind of was, we're just freelancing this right here, is that you mentioned that you rode Suzuki, Kawasaki's, and all the other brands. When did you transition over to riding Harleys?
I bought my first Harley in 1997, and
Hmm.
I have it to today. It's still out there in the shop and everything sitting there. It's the one
Hmm.
you're looking at right there, the purple one that
There
you just
you go. That beautiful
yeah.
purple one. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's when I transferred over in 1997. Then I had the other one built. It's a hardtail with a booster. I mean not a booster. I'm sorry, Buell motor on it,
Okay.
and yeah, it's had that one built. It's got nitrous on it and everything like that. That was basically a nice riding bike if you like hardtail. But
Hmm.
yep, and I didn't send you pictures of the other bikes. I had a Triumph. My first bike was a Ducati, and
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
know if a lot of people knew what a Ducati was, but a Ducati is a British-made bike and everything. And my second bike was basically a Bonneville, 1968 Bonneville.
1968 Bonneville.
Bonneville. And then
Man.
the next bike I had was the 76 KZ 900 that I punched out to 1,000 cc's, and then from there I went to the Voyager, and that was the traveling bike. The Voyager is Kawasaki's bagger
Hmm.
and everything, and had that for years. And then after that, that's when I came up with the full dress Harley.
Okay. And the question I have was, you now you said you punched it out. You were doing your own motor work. You was
No, I got a young man that did the motor work for me
mhm.
and everything. And a matter of fact, he's a young man. His name's Carl Chriswell. We call him Booney. He's the one that raced the bikes and everything. He still builds race cars and everything. We got 3 shops here at our house and everything. Um, and that's who did most of the motor work and everything.
So back then, during that time frame and era, and I know we were talking about your legacy. Um, you were drag racing. What were you pretty much drag racing? Were you drag racing sport bikes? Were you drag racing Harley V twins?
No, it was Suzuki's.
Okay, so you
That's
were
what.
Zook.
That's what.
You've been a Zook man on the track.
My young builder, which is like a
Uh-huh.
son to me. He's Suzuki, and we basically sponsored him and backed him at what he did and everything. So he's still has a high booster to this day. And I think I sent you. There's the pictures there you're showing
Yes,
of
sir.
the drag bike, and that's
Hmm.
a Suzuki power plant.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a frame and body and everything from aftermarket, but it's Suzuki power plant. Mhm.
Now I know the Roundup eventually started moving to racetracks and
Yeah.
and and clubs. Did clubs start coming out and participating in racing? Because I see a lot of white clubs that will go like Hell's Angel got a race team. I know Wheels of Soul has a race team.
Hmm.
Did that ever come about where clubs would come to the Roundup to participate in races?
Yeah, we start pushing it to the point that we felt like the racetrack was a better facility because everybody started asking for things to do, and
Hmm.
other than just coming and hanging out and partying and having a good time, which that was good too because there was like 3 different entities involved in Roundup. Basically, the ones that are coming for the old school type of roundup, put up your tent and camp and
Yep.
have a good time. And then you had the ones that came that wanted to purchase and see things and go places. And that's what another thing Roundup did. And we'll get back to the racing part is that
Right.
it moved around the country so much that it gave people opportunity to go places and see things. He's in Pennsylvania area. There was different tourism things you could go and see and do. Florida tourism, whatever that area had, people ventured out to do that and everything. And then the racing part of it, when we started taking it to different racetracks, it gave an opportunity for clubs to compete against each other, individuals to compete against each other,
Yes,
to
sir.
bring in some exhibition things. That's what Ricky come in and he would wheel stand the whole track all the way down and everything like that. We had built races around it with where they were paying for people to, if you win this pot, you win that pot, or trophies, or whatever it might take. So those were things to try to enhance what Roundup did. The most important thing I think Roundup was doing at the time is we did a food drive, and we would always get with every food bank in the county or state or where we were,
Hmm.
and try to leave as much food and money there. And
Right.
at one point in time, Harley Davidson was matching whatever we did. Because they would bring in the demo trucks and all that and everything. Kawasaki, we went to California, brought in the demo trucks and the whole bit. So we had a good turnout when we started using the drag strips.
Yes, yes. And like I say, when I went down to Darlington for that event, it was on the drag strip. And a couple of riders was riding and making passes and getting involved and going back and forth because that's what I always thought it was about. I always thought the roundup was about black clubs in general coming together, being competitive on that drag strip, camping out, barn fires going,
Hmm.
people dancing. You have some vendors there, maybe selling some shirts or whatever the case may be. But it was all about coming together on the one location in that grass, in that field, and just having a blast, a ball.
And that was it. That was the main goal, and that was what we tried to do all the time. We just tried to keep enhancing it as we went along.
Yes,
So.
sir. Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. Oh man, I'm thoroughly enjoying this, sir. And you was also featured in American Writer and a couple other magazines for being the chair of the organization. I look back at some old articles, and they talked about it. They talked about you. They talked about what the organization was doing in the community, all of the positive of it. And I'm hoping that it continued to go forward. In your time of seeing new bikers come, do you think the new generation embracing the roundup?
I can't say, and the reason why I can't say, I haven't had involvement in the roundup since 2017. That was
Mhm.
my last roundup, and I
Right.
haven't been since then. But I know that the new motorcycle culture is a lot different than it used to be. And I'm not being negative, and I'm not being positive, but I'm just being that it's turned into a new breed of motorcyclists.
Yes, sir.
And and the clubs have turned into a new breed of being club wise. So that's pretty much the way I look at it now. And I couldn't tell you what's going on at the roundup since
Okay.
2017.
Okay. But you still being in a club, and you still part of it, of that tradition. Do you think we're losing the tradition of it? Do you think that we are not staying in contact with our past and forgetting our past, and kind of going in a different direction with it, because it's a rich history?
You know, the history is rich, the past is definitely rich, but the actual what's going on in the clubs now, that I personally, this is not saying that this is
Right.
what's
Yes,
out
sir.
there,
Yes,
but
sir.
I personally see it as it's not the brotherhood or the togetherness that it used to be, because there's too many people jumping clubs. They go
Hmm.
from here to there. They don't like what you say, but
Right.
yet and still they say, well, I'm gonna go out and start my own, and that makes
Hmm.
a big difference nowadays. And everybody is just kind of like the world's going. Everybody's into it for themselves. That's what I see. Hmm.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
But I really I give more to the individual rider than I do the new clubs that have come on the scene.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's an awesome way to look at it, sir. Definitely a perspective that some people should take in consideration, coming from you, being in it as long as you have, being around it, what you brought to the table. Like you said, you had Harley Davidson, you had other big names that was involved with bringing the trailer, the demos truck to the roundup. So
yeah. Hmm.
you definitely know the culture. You've lived it. If you could give any advice to someone that's coming into the motorcycle culture now, what advice would you give them?
The biggest advice I could give someone coming into it now would be to just enjoy the ride.
Hmm.
Just enjoy the fellowshipping with people, and not look at it as a point of trying to outdo someone or outdo this. Everybody has their own set rules of what they want to do and how they want to do it. But my biggest thing is enjoy it, and
Hmm.
everything. I think it's next level. They just set a goal for all their chapters to do 1,000,000 miles in a riding season. I think that's the club that it is. Next level, I think it is, because it's. I think you know him, Todd. You know Todd?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
down in
know.
Florida. He used to
Down
be.
in
He used to
Florida,
be in.
yeah.
Yeah, he used to be in Illinois.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
interviewed him on my show.
Yes.
I've
Okay.
interviewed him on my show.
Yeah.
Him and Juice and all those guys from Next
Yeah.
Level rode 1,000,000
Hmm.
miles. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But they enjoyed what they
Mr.
do.
Anytime, Anywhere. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
they enjoy what they do. So that's what I my recommendation is: enjoy this motorcycle culture, and don't take it so deep that you got to be challenging each other all the time. That would be
Right.
my suggestion.
Don't make it to be a challenge, just to enjoy it. And that's what I try to tell
Hmm.
everybody, enjoy the ride. And I
Yeah.
say, even before you join a club, maybe sit there and say, well, okay, I have my first Harley. Spend 1 to 2 years of going out riding across the country. Do a coast to coast by yourself, under your brand, under your banner, because when you join a club, you're going to ride for that brand. And whatever they
Right.
want you to do, wherever they want you to go, that's where you're going to have to go and ride to. And you're going to miss a
Yep.
lot in between. It's not like back in the days when you guys went riding. You guys would probably ride, you know, a few 100 miles, stop, enjoy, meet the town, meet the people, and then
Hmm.
continue to ride on. You got more
Hmm.
involved with your ride. Now it's like it's just blasting from point A to point B. You say, I ask people, I say, okay, you did the I-10 to the end, you rode coast to coast, but what did you see in between that coast to coast ride? Did you stop anywhere? Did you go visit any other clubs, any clubhouses? or anything like
Hmm.
that? And they said, no, I just rode all the way across
Just
the
road,
country.
right?
Yeah.
And that's something that they don't do anymore. They don't stop in here and stop in there and everything. That's like a lot of guys don't even understand Route 66, and
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's a ride that I tell people to do. It's a hard ride now. Don't get it wrong, because you're gonna be through the desert. You're gonna be going in the small areas, and you got to drop off the main highway and go into 66 route and see the different things. There's so much to see on Route 66 and everything, so there's a lot that they can do and see, and a lot of people they can meet club wise, because there
Yes.
are clubs all out there. But that's a culture that hopefully they can get back to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely, definitely. And you mentioned Route 66. I will be doing Route 66 this year, the whole thing in its entirety. I've ridden
Hmm.
portions of it. I've been on it, but I've never ridden from start to finish. So
Right.
that is my goal for this year, is to ride the entire Route 66. I plan to take my time and take it all in. I'm going to stay at some of the old historic hotels along the way and
Hmm.
just take it all in and not try to blast through it all. Yes, sir.
And there's
What,
there's a lot of museums out there on that route. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, you're not gonna find a lot of black museums if you find one. but
that's right.
uh, but that's a route that's really old, Route 66. So
Right. Now you still have a bunch of memorabilia stuff in your area. Am I correct?
yep, where I live, there's 18th and Vine, and that's
Hmm.
where the Zodiac Motorcycle Club is actually on 18th and Vine, 1825 Vine. But within that area, it's an entertainment area. There is the Negro League Museum. There's a jazz museum, and there's historical things that have to do with what went on in the 18th and Vine area. And I'm not trying to match it with anything or anything like that, but it's where blacks actually migrated to during the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and some of the 70s and everything. So historically, we're there. We got the Black Archives of Mid-America, which is a
Hmm.
historical thing about slavery within this area and everything.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, sir. Because I did not know about that, but I definitely going to add it to my list of places to visit. Now, I do a lot of rides where I visit old historic, the Negro, the Blues Trail, slave
Hmm.
routes, and all of that. And for this whole month, I've been posting my visits, and I'm definitely going to add that on there. I plan to get out there and maybe visit you, see you, shake your hand, and get a picture with you, because I'd be honored to have a picture with you, sir.
Well, come to town, and I will make sure that you enjoy your stay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, I've truly enjoyed this, but before we go, I need you to tell me probably one of your most memorable rides across the country, anywhere. Just one of your most memorable.
Uh, I can tell you one that I remember more than anything, and the reason why I remember it, it had to do with the Gulf. We rode from Kansas City down to Lafayette, Louisiana, which Dallas, the guy that one of the founders of the Zodiacs, we stayed at his family and everything. We had a good time. Then we left from there and we went over to Galveston, but
Hmm.
we had to take a ferry across.
Hmm.
And the ferry, where we rode our bikes up on the ferry, we got up on top and we crossed at night, and that was the most memorable thing I can remember, was the lights, the water, and crossing over to Galveston on the ferry. So that was probably one of my best ones. Then we went on down the rest of the coast, down through Alabama, Florida, and looped our way back up to Georgia. So that was one of the best ones.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, you gentlemen did some riding. I love that. I love that, because you know, in the route that you took, you don't hear people taking those routes anymore. Or saying we rode down to Galveston or we took the ferry across. Pretty much you hear now is I-10, I-20, the 40 or 95. Those are the pretty much one that you're gonna hear people say when they
Hmm.
took a ride. Get on those back roads, go see some of these small towns, go see these clubs,
Right.
gentlemen, go see the gentlemen. They got and when they branched out and they open the other chapters, go visit some of the other chapters in just your local city and town, go visit another chapter somewhere, because when they come to town, you meet and shake their hand. Because that was a time when you had to go to other sets to meet people to say, well, what events do y'all have? Well, here's a flyer. Take my name down, my name, and give me a call. We'll let you know when we got something. Come visit us. We're gonna come visit you. It wasn't just pick up social media. Now you had
No,
to go
there
visit.
was there was no social media. It was you met people and you conversate with them. Like we have a club that we kind of call our sister club, brother
Mm-hmm.
club over in St. Louis area, the Crown Royals. And we annually go visit their event and stuff like that. But we would go there, we would go to Tulsa. And you had to realize that back then was a lot of regional riding because guys still had jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So we would touch Omaha, Nebraska on a weekend, or Lincoln, Nebraska, or go up in Des Moines area, or we would go over in the St. Louis area, which they had clubs over there, Crown Royals, uh, East St. Louis area. Then we would do Oklahoma City and Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
and those were the regions that we would do on the weekend just to ride. And those were like 250 miles out, 250 miles back, and then annually once a year we would do one long trip somewhere for vacation and
Mm-hmm.
go do
So
those. So that's
that was
how.
a vacation ride. So you gentlemen would sit there and say, well, okay, we're gonna go on a vacation ride. Now, did you take family with you? Did you have cars
No,
following? It was
no,
all
these
bikes.
were
It was all
hard,
bikes.
all bike back then. Um, Sometimes we didn't even have saddlebag bikes back then. We just rolled up our stuff and had leather bags that we threw on the side, and you would get somewhere and you go to laundromat and wash your clothes and clean your clothes up and put them back on, or you have two sets to wear and you just ride. I mean, it was that way. It wasn't the luxury of what they have now, the bikes and this and that and the whole bit.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, that's the type of rides that we did back in the day.
Man, that's awesome, incredible. Hopefully, when I get down there, you can share some of those photos with me. I wish I could have had some here tonight to share with the people, folks. I'm telling you, this is a true living legend and icon within his own right, man. I'm telling you,
Mhm.
sir.
When you
Is it?
come, I like for you to visit the clubhouse. You'll
Oh,
get all the
definitely.
photos you want because it's plastered with photos and trophies and everything. So you'll get a good time.
Yes, and that's what I like to do when I come visit clubhouses. I like to come and look at the wall. That's one thing that
Hmm.
I've always done. To me, that's showing respect for that organization. When you come and look at the wall, when you look up and you see former members, because actually some of the members on the wall may have passed. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
And
we
you
got a
give them
memorial
that.
wall.
Yeah, you got a
We have a
memorial wall. Is
memorial
that
wall clear across the top, and people come in and say, "What's that wall?" And I tell them, I say, "You don't want to get on that wall." So,
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yep. So,
yes.
hmm,
So
okay.
so definitely I plan to make that one of my stops, sir.
Hmm.
Is there anything you would like to leave with my audience tonight during this show? Um, just your words, sir.
What I would like to leave with them is that your audience need to appreciate you for the work that you're doing and the things that you're doing to continue to try to make black bikers be more than what they are at this time. So my thing is my hats off to you and the work that you do. People like
Thank you, sir.
Sonny and them, the things that they do, the younger generation that's trying to continue to bring this forward and hold on to it. So that's
Yes,
what I
sir.
want to leave is that I thank you. I appreciate you for wanting to interview me and everything. So thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir. Well, all right,
Mhm.
sir. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. I'll be in touch with you. Just kind of give a little wrap up. You have a good day, sir. Try to stay warm out there because I know that weather out there. I was stationed at Fort Leonard Wood.
Yeah.
so,
Yep. It's
so
2 degrees out here now.
yeah, 2 degrees, man, and cold and
Yeah.
windy too. I'm sure it's wind blowing,
Yeah.
which
Yeah. The
makes it
wind's
feel even
blowing.
colder. The
But
wind chill makes it
but
feel even colder.
you know what's funny? They telling us weather-wise next week this same time we're gonna be in the 60s.
See there?
So yeah.
Oh my
All right
goodness.
then.
All
I
right,
appreciate
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
You take care. I'll be in touch.
All right. Bye bye.
Oh, folks, let me tell you, it was a true honor to have Mr. Billy Walker on uh, tonight. I can't thank Suni and the Bell and David enough for even just passing uh, his information, even just saying, hey, you need to reach out to him. You need to get him on your show, Solo. It was a true honor to get him on. And for everybody, tonight we had a discussion. For you that don't know, Mr. Billy Walker has been the chair or past chair, former chair for the National Bikers Roundup for many, many years. He was responsible for taking the different locations, making sure that everything was coordinated right, to put on a great show. He made contacts with the bigs, Harley Davidson, and other organizations that would come out and have demo bikes for the riders. Now you got to realize something. The National Bikers Roundup typically has been for Black motorcyclists. That was our Sturgis. You know what I'm saying? That was where we would be, used to be our mecca of where we want to go. And the sad part about it is, with today's motorcycle culture, is we've gotten away from it. We've gotten away from it to the point where people don't even talk about it anymore, or it's not on your to-go places list or annual events list. Do clubs do that anymore? Do clubs sit there and say, well, okay, this is the first thing that we're going to put on our list of rides and events that we're going to attend? The National Bikers Roundup. Where is it at? Okay, boom. And then start working top to bottom and all in between to sit there and say, this is going to be a part of our legacy. Our club, our chapter, we're going to the National Biker Roundup. What was the reason for the National Biker Roundup? It was for other clubs to get together and meet clubs before social media, before Facebook, before Instagram, before Twitter, before all of this. You used to have to go places like this to meet people, to do a face-to-face, to sit there and shake hands, sit there and say, okay, I'm going to kick it with you. I'm going to kick it with you. Or, you know, do I feel comfortable letting you in my house, or do I feel comfortable inviting you to my event? I don't know if you're a cop or not. I don't know if you're a op. You know what I'm saying? So we've kind of gotten away from that. Social media has made one big bike set where you can, at the click of a button, you can see what's going on in California. I was talking to Highway Smiley about that. Highway Smiley mentioned how when he rode east and the people that he met that inspired him to ride. You just heard Mr. Walker talk about Mr. Anytime, Anywhere and his organization. They ride. We need to get back into supporting the National Bikers Roundup. We do, folks. We do, because it's a part of our legacy. It's our Sturgis. That's what it is. And if we let it go, if we don't use it, we're going to lose it. I'm telling you right now, if we don't use it, we're going to lose it, because people aren't going to go. It's going to fall off. It's not going to be profitable. And people are going to start coming out of their pocket to put it on. And you know what happened then? People say, you know what? We just can't afford it anymore. So I challenge you. I challenge everybody. Independents, Black, white, age, it don't matter. If you own tools, you need to figure out a way to sit there and say, we're going to go to the National Biker Roundup. Hearing Mr. Walker speak, hearing the legacy of it, we need to support it, folks. Well, all right. The 2025 National Biker Roundup is going to be at J.B. Wells Arena in Gonzales, Texas. 29th of July through the 3rd of August. There it is. You know where it's going to be. Look it up. They got a Facebook page. They got a couple of other pages out there that's highlighting it. It's still the Mecca. Camping, events, music, entertainment. That's what it's all about. All right, folks, I enjoyed you tonight. I appreciate you. Please continue to support the podcast. Riding with K Solo, the podcast. I got some great shows lined up for you. I'm doing some recorded shows. I'm taking it on the road. I'm going to be doing some interviews on the road. I'll be attending some events that's coming up. And definitely would like to see everybody. If you want to become a top tier supporter of the podcast, by all means, donate what you can, as much as you can, to help keep this platform up and running. I don't pocket anything out of this. I just want to continue to be able to bring you quality content. Something you can sit there and say, This is going to be in the archive. This is going to be saved. K Solo's been out there riding. We know he's been riding. He's a true rider, true biker. And the people that he interviews, that he talked to, respect him because they know what he's done. They know he's riding. They know he's lived that lifestyle. That's what I have always tried to establish and try to portray myself as. And that's what I've always been. True to it, true to the culture, 100%, to the point where, you know, it probably damn near cost me more than what I got out of it. Folks, I love you. I enjoy you. I appreciate you. Support the podcast. All right, folks, I'm going to end this thing. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.